What up, what up, what up? It's your favorite shit-talking squirrel, back for the Darrell Brooks video. So you guys have all been saying you want another solo video, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at some more of Darrell Brooks' dumbest moments. That video did really well. It's like my top video, so, figure might as well give you guys what you like to watch. So, just before we start really quick, I have some new merch out. So yeah, we'll check some of this out quick. If you guys watched my last Case Watch video, you might have seen some of this, but just won't take up too much of your time. Just want to show off this stuff really quick. These are my angry socks. It's got the little the little angry squirrel on there. If you know you're gonna have a bad day, you throw on your angry socks. You're all set. Got a beef sticker with the alternate channel art. We got the sipping the Haterade water bottle. For anyone who wants to sip the Haterade along with me, on the back, I'll show you. It's got one of my squirrels, and then it says, "Let's keep up this bad work," so you guys can keep up the bad work right along with me and sip on that Haterade. I really like this thing. It came out good. But then we got this last one. I got the Objection coffee mug. Oh, here, let me pull this up. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Yeah, there we go. Got the Objection coffee mug. Everybody was asking for it, so I figured I'd make it. On the back there, it says grounds. Yeah, these all came out pretty good. I really hope you guys like them. If you use code BEEF, you'll get 10% off. I tried to keep everything as cheap as possible. I only marked these things up like $1. You'll see it's only, that's only $12.99. But yeah, it's a great way to contribute to the channel. You actually get something for your money, so if you enjoy these videos and would like to, help to make these videos better and make more of them, pick up something for your house. Alright, so without further ado, let's just jump on into the content, shall we? Let's get this.
Do you have any extras? I know we've given you a bunch, or do you need new forms?
I really only brought the ones that I was required to turn in today.
That's okay. What we'll do is we'll make sure on the next available break, I'll have my clerk count off how many there are. We'll get them reprinted. I think they keep forms in the clerk's office. And then put the date on, and then you can fill them out again, and then we'll hand them back over to the state. Do you intend these subpoenas to be the equivalent of your witness list, or were you going to file something separately?
I was intending for this to be my witness list. I think that would probably be easier.
Any objection from the state?
No, we understand. I think we've been given fair notice, Your Honor.
Okay.
I do have some other challenges on some of these subpoenas, not, again, that we need to necessarily address right now, but I would like to advise the court and the defendant that he's requested a subpoena for a person identified as Sammy Fleischman. We have learned that Ms. Fleischman has relocated to the state of Texas. Therefore, we will not be able to secure her appearance here at the trial on behalf of Mr. Brooks. If he wishes to make arrangements for transportation for Ms. Fleischman, he may do so himself. Ms. Fleischman, it is my understanding, was the woman who organized the parade, or was one of the people that organized the parade, but that's how she's identified in the reports, and therefore her relevance may or may not be an issue as well.
All right, did you hear the state advise you of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't even begin to try to know how I can do something like that from a jail cell.
Oh, the struggles of being your own attorney.
I'm pretty much broke.
Well, you're advised, though, if she's out of state, there's other procedures would have to be followed, and the state is not obligated to make those arrangements since it's an out-of-state witness at this point, okay? Did you hear me say that?
I follow.
So you'll notice as we go through today's clip that this is like the most agreeable version of Brooks that we've literally ever seen. This is the day that he comes in and apologizes. He is making conceited efforts to be as agreeable as possible. We talked about it during one of the Case Watch episodes that this is very much indicative of the cycle of abuse, right? You come in and you abuse whoever your person is. Let's say, for example, Erica right? He comes in, he beats the crap out of her, and then the next day, it's all flowers, oh, let me cook you breakfast, I love you, baby. This is, like, very much the same exact thing he's doing here. It's like, you can't just be a complete piece of shit all the time. Otherwise, nobody would be around you. I mean, we see later on in the trial that he basically is. Like, he as much as he is cognizant of the fact that he needs to sometimes be amenable, he physically can't stop himself the longer this trial goes on from just being really his true self, which is the disgusting cockroach asshole that we see in, like, day 12 and day 13. But I found it fascinating even here, even when he's trying to be his most agreeable and polite version of himself, he still cannot bring himself to just say, I agree, or yes, Your Honor. It's still either, I'm informed, he won't say he understands. It'll be a cold day in hell before he understands anything. But, yeah, he always comes back to, I'm informed, I follow, I heard you. It's so obnoxious. It's like he is programmed at a DNA level to go against the grain and make everything as difficult as possible. Even when he is trying to be polite and amenable, he still can't help himself.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in the subpoena list?
I mean, there's others that we have objections to, but I don't know if you want to address that right now, Your Honor.
Well, I'd like to have you put them on the record so that Mr. Brooks knows, and if he wants to respond now, that's fine. Otherwise, we can take it up a little bit later.
The other two would be Erica Patterson and Detective Steve Guth, seeing as they have already testified and were subject to cross-examination. We would request an offer of proof as to what relevant testimony, if any, they may offer. And then there was one of the parents of the victims, Kathleen Yourell. She was not present at the parade. And it's really unknown what type of testimony he would want to elicit from her. So we would be requesting an offer of proof to establish the relevancy of those witnesses, Your Honor.
So, Kathleen Yourell is the mother of 4 children who were mangled by Brooks at the parade. And as they indicate, she did not see the driver or the assaults. A logical person, an empathetic person, who wasn't solely out for their own gain, might be cognizant to the fact that the trauma he may have caused this by calling this woman vastly outweighs any barely meaningful testimony she may provide. They are more or less warning Brooks, hey man, you've put this woman through enough, she barely saw anything. Can you maybe just leave her the fuck alone? We did our homework, she offers nothing to either side. He, of course, likely assumes, like an idiot, who is incapable of seeing the wind for the trees before him, that if they didn't want to call her, she must hold some key testimony that will just blow the case wide open. When in reality, they are merely trying to minimize a mother's suffering by preventing her from facing the man who ran over her 4 children and essentially ruined her entire family's life forever. Let's hear Dum Dum's offer of proof as to why he sees it's so essential that he calls her as a witness.
Do you want to address that now or have an opportunity to think about that and address it perhaps at the end of the day?
It's really nothing to think about. I think it's pretty clear.
Oh, is it? Is it pretty clear? Is he obvious?
They are, besides Miss Patterson and Detective Guth, I mean, they are, as far as with them, I think it would be relevant because we have paperwork that was filed by the district attorney about there being no factual basis nor no domestic violence incident on November 20th, which they testified to. I think that that's perjury. So
Again with this, they are not on trial here, sir. Even if you're making the farthest of leaps that them testifying about the incident on the 20th means they are incredible witnesses, that evidence means less to any logical human being than the fact that you may have actually hit her, which will obviously be brought up during cross-examination by the state. What you really want to say is, na-na-na-na-boo-boo, the state dismissed the case to the 20th, so I got away with beating on your ass for the umpteenth time, which inadvertently exposes your true intentions to the jury. Which becomes even more ironic in the face of your closing statement where you basically beg the jury to let you go because they know what's right. We know what's right, dude. We know if you were to be let out in the streets again, you would terrorize, assault, or possibly kill anybody you would come in contact with.
So that should be...
Well, you're giving me an argument, I guess, on the relevance of their testimony, sir, but as I recall the testimony, you are the one asking the questions about the 20th. The state dismissed that charge. I granted that request to dismiss it. There's nothing that you are bringing to my attention that I can tell would be perjury, but I don't know if what you're trying to tell me is you'd like to question them about their credibility because that charge, explain to me a little bit further.
It would be a lot to do with credibility and also a few questions that I believe would still be relevant to even the events of the 21st. There's still some relevant things that I feel should be answered, that I feel the jury deserves to know.
Well, I'm going to give him some leeway. He's a pro se defendant. He has a right to call witnesses. These are two witnesses that testified. He did have the opportunity to cross-examine them, but I think it's reasonable for him to want to question them further, and I'll keep them on your witness list and instruct the state to assist as they have already offered. What about this Kathleen Yourell? I know she's on their potential witness list that was filed.
I apologize for interrupting, but I did misspeak. She was at the parade, but she cannot testify to anyone being struck or injured by the SUV other than her own children that she learned after the fact. And she cannot identify the driver.
All right, Mr. Brooks?
There's still relevancy there. She was at the parade, and as we just heard right now for the record, that she would be directly affected by it, by her family being victims in the matter. Also, she gave statements and she filed a report.
Oh, okay. That's why he's so determined to call her. The police report. Oh, that is such a low bar for entry. Because we know he doesn't formulate his own questions. He basically stands up there with the police report in hand and quizzes them about their own statements to try and, trip them up on their own words. I mean, we heard it just now with his offer of proof as to why he wants to call Erica and Detective Guth. Because they perjured themselves. I mean, what he lacks the understanding to see is that does not aid in his defense, really in the slightest. If you are more or less attacking people's memory regarding a statement they gave a year ago, which at certain points you acknowledge yourself, it has been a while, you are exposing how thin your defense truly is. You are scraping at the bottomest of barrels to imply a witness is incredible based on year-old statements. This guy is dumb!
I feel like her testimony would be relevant to the matter.
All right, I'll keep her on the list as well. Anyone else on the list of subpoenas?
No, Your Honor, we'll just wait to receive the corrected subpoenas and then we will endeavor to have them served.
All right, thank you.
Just one thing real quick, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
And if I'm misspeaking right here, feel free to correct me. You said something to the effect about getting more paperwork in during the lunch hour. What was that referring to?
I believe it was
subpoenas?
referring to a witness list. If you had one, but what you're indicating is you'd like the grouping of subpoenas and the witnesses who are identified to be reflective of your witness list without filing an independent witness list.
Well, I missed this subpoena. It's only one. but I would have to change it because it was filled out in the same way as the other ones. My mistake for missing it. I got a lot of paper.
What's
here.
the name on it?
Catrice Babias.
Catrice Babias.
I don't know. It's spelled.
All right,
I don't want to butcher it.
That's okay. Hand it to the bailiff, and then I'll take a look at it.
It's filled out in the correct. The incorrect, just like the other one. So I would have to essentially change it. But I just wanted that for the record that was lurking in my paperwork.
That's okay. Thank you for providing that. The last name is Babiasz.
Yes, we're familiar with that witness. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we'll add that to the list. State still have the originals that I handed over to you?
I do.
All right, why don't we give all of those back to Mr. Brooks so that he has those, including the one in my hand. We'll make sure he gets new forms. And then if you could just make sure you provide those at the end of the day today, or by the end of the day.
But I don't know if I'll be able to fill all those out on a break.
If need be, I'll let you sit here at the end of the day until you get them filled out, so to make sure the state gets them right away. Okay?
I can try to knock out as many as I can during the breaks to make it easier.
Man, it's crazy rewatching this back and seeing how respectful he's being. Like, this seems so far and away removed from the Darrell we get just a few days before one, but I mean, like, come day 12 and 13, it's like an entirely different person. Like, we are seeing live in real time how he manipulates people, and how, like, this is a very good example of how Erica fell hook, line, and sinker into this cycle of abuse, because he's capable of being a decent person. We're seeing it right now. Like, he has it within him. He is choosing not to be the respectful and polite person we see him capable of being right now. I mean, he vehemently rejects completing any paperwork basically from this day forward. I mean, I suppose he's possibly doing it because he wants these witnesses to come in and everyone in the courtroom is basically working for him. But, like, here, I'll show this clip. Compare what we're seeing now to when he's completing the subpoenas to when they initially asked him for his witness list, and how completely polarizing different these two people are from each other.
Now, you also mentioned previously when I referenced going back to your cell to get the list. I'm giving you that opportunity. You asked me to do that.
I did not ask you to do that. The question was, where was the list at?
That's true. So you said the list was in your cell. I'm advising you that I'll give you the opportunity to go.
I don't want to do that.
Can I finish? I'm advising you that you are being given the opportunity, if you so choose, to go back to your cell to obtain the list of witnesses that you have been working on. Further advising you that if you choose not to do that, your one option would be to verbally tell the court any additional names to what you've already provided. Write those down for the court, so that either tell me now or write them down so that I can include them in the list of names I'm providing to the jurors.
So how am I supposed to do that without the list in front of me?
The list that you have in your cell?
How am I supposed to do that without the list?
I'm telling you, I'm giving you the opportunity to go get that.
I'm not going to go do that.
Mr. Brooks, I'm not going to play games with you. I'm giving you an opportunity.
And I told you that I'm not going to do that.
You either go to your cell and get the list or not.
You said I have the opportunity to do that. You said I have the opportunity.
I'm not going to demand that you do it, but you have to understand, sir, that if you choose not to do that.
I don't understand.
I get that the whole I don't understand game he's playing, and it is a game, 1000%. He's just fucking with the judge to be an asshole. But I get that him saying I don't understand is part of the sovereign tactics, but does he not comprehend that he sounds like the biggest idiot in the universe? Like, I'm too hard to understand anything you're saying. I'm too gangster to understand. It's so fucking lame.
I don't understand.
All right,
I've
Mr.
made
Brooks.
that clear. I don't know how
Claim
many
to not
times for the
understand,
record.
and that's been made very
Oh,
clear,
I don't
sir.
understand.
It has been made perfectly clear that you do not understand, nor are you capable of understanding anything that is happening around you, sir. One might say it is obvious.
I don't
Yes, sir.
understand. You're not going to get me to consent to something that I don't consent to or agree to. I do
No.
not
All
understand.
right.
Just
Mr.
like I
Brooks,
don't
we're going to
understand
take
the
a
nature and
recess
cause
so
of
that
this.
the court can get this
exactly
information
like I've
from
been
the
telling you
state.
from the beginning.
Okay, he's continuing with his disruptive behavior. It is his choice to do that. Mr. Brooks, you are hereby warned once again, if you continue with that, you will be removed from the courtroom.
Remove me. Remove me.
Requesting to go to the other
Remove
courtroom?
me. I told you that before I even came over here.
Sir, are you requesting to
I
go?
told you that before I even came over here.
Mr. Brooks, are you
That
requesting?
It was pointless of me to come over here. You can smile all you want and think
Sir,
it's funny.
my
I don't take this as a
preference-
joke. I don't take this as a game.
My preference is for you to be
You
here.
expect me to answer all these questions that you have for me, Your Honor, but you have yet to answer one question that I've asked you.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You have yet
Right.
to verify anything
You
by
can take
sworn
him back to
affidavit.
the other room.
You haven't
He's been
even honored-
disruptive.
You haven't even honored my request to make an offer for my appeal.
Bitch, I hope the fuck you do. You'll be a dead son of a bitch, I tell you that.
Thank you, ladies
You
and
haven't
gentlemen.
even
We'll
honored-
have
you haven't
to
even
clear
done
the
that.
courtroom.
I don't agree to a stop and I move this court for a motion to dismiss.
Bye, have a great time.
So yeah, to compare these two Darrells side by side, it's like night and day. He's like he's like a reverse superhero. His secret identity is the tolerable, sane, agreeable guy we see here, and then he takes off the mask to reveal his true, authentic asshole, toxic, narcissistic self. Darrell man, beater of women, murderer of children, terrible attorney. Terrible attorney by day, convicted felon by night. Darrell man, with the power to redirect any argument, to delay any trial, to take whatever you say and do the opposite. Darrell man.
What are you?
My name is Darrell Brooks Jr.
We'll
But
give
I'm
you
not,
time.
I'm not sure that, you know.
We'll give you time. Don't worry about it. All right. Anything else from the state?
No, thank you.
Mr. Brooks, anything else from you?
Yes.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
At this point, I'm probably beating the dead horse.
Not probably. You are most certainly beating that dead horse. You have beaten that horse to smithereens. There is nothing left to beat at this point. And you will continue to beat said dead horse until you are blue in the face. Until there is nothing left to beat. You will beat that horse until there is nothing left but ground. And yet you continue to beat the ghost of that horse. You will beat at the ground that horse laid upon until you have beaten yourself to China.
I just have to stay for the record anyway. I would like to direct your honor to, I believe it's Milo versus United States, 505 F2D 1026. Are you familiar with that, Your Honor?
Not off the top of my head, but I can pull it up.
And also Higgins versus Levine, 415 US 533. And those cases are being brought up because of the continuing asking of me about the jurisdiction that I've been challenging. I believe they're very, very relevant to this matter.
Anything specific you want to draw my attention to?
Well, there's cases that challenge the jurisdiction, which I've been doing, challenging the jurisdiction. Milo versus United States states once jurisdiction is challenged, the court cannot proceed when it is clearly appears that the court lacks jurisdiction. The court has no authority to reach merits, but rather should dismiss the action.
What about the other
I
case?
believe it's, well, the information I have is 533. That states the law requires proof of jurisdiction to appear on the record of the administrative agency in all administrative proceedings. We have yet to prove the jurisdiction. It has yet to be proven.
So, at first glance, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, Darrell did his homework for once. He's conducting himself respectfully and citing case law. Things are looking up for the D-Man. And you're not entirely wrong in that regard. However, I did just the smallest amount of digging into these cases, and they all immediately ping right back to sovereign citizen websites. I think it's pretty clear someone in his unit is just feeding him this crap. I was honestly waiting for the word sua sponte to come out of his mouth. He probably thought that was taking it too far. I find it hilarious that he was handed this sovereign citizen word salad, and he marched his little ass into court, rattling this off, actually thinking he did something. Oh, he's such a moron. They go on to dispute these cases basically the next day. If you want to see that, I'll link that video in the description with a timestamp, but for now, let's move on.
Do we have additional witnesses here?
Oh, you know I gotta do it.
Mask on, fuck it, mask on, mask on, fuck it, mask on.
All right, would that be how many people?
There's 2 left.
Okay. So the 2 left on your list. Your next witness, sir.
So I'm guessing that's, oh, I know who it is. Just give me 1 quick second, Your Honor, 1 quick second.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm ready, Your Honor.
Go ahead. Call your next witness.
Kathleen Yourell?
Yourell? That's how I think it is. We'll find out. All right, ma'am, if you would please make your way to the witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in. Go ahead and come all the way up. Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record, and then spell each.
Kathleen, K-A-T-H-L-E-E-N. Last name Yourell, Y-O-U-R-E-L-L.
Thank you so much. Your witness. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Miss Yourell. Is it Yourell?
Yourell.
Yourell. What do you do for a living?
I'm in workforce management for a call center.
November 21st, 2021. Directing your attention there. You recall that evening pretty well?
You mean the night you ruined this woman's family's life forever? Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she remembers it pretty well. I would go as far as to say it's pretty clear for her.
Off and on, sir.
That's fair, it has been a while.
I am certain that is not what she means, you fuck.
Do you recall what you were doing that evening?
Yes, sir.
And what were you doing that evening?
At what time?
Around 3:30, 4 o'clock-ish.
I was dropping off my children who were participating in the parade.
And did you yourself stay for the parade?
Partial parade, yes.
Partial meaning maybe a few minutes?
Until my group of children went by.
Okay. Do you recall where you were positioned during watching your group participate in the parade?
Yes, on north and east, right on the corner there.
North and east.
If you're going parade route, it would be on the right-hand side.
Okay. Just so we have clarification, can we pull up the exhibit, I believe it's 15? We can. Thank you.
Go ahead. And thank you.
Can we show it to the witness first?
He doesn't want it published, so just to the witness for now.
Just not yet. Just I want to make sure the witness gets a chance to view it first. Can you see that on your screen yet?
I do.
And using the touch screen, it's a touch screen. Can you point out where
It's not published. So do you want it published?
So funny, he tries to act all professional, asking her what she does, and saying he doesn't want it published for the jury, and then he still miffs it. I like her smirk too. He's just laughing at his doofusness.
I'm sorry. Yeah, publish.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to point
So,
that out.
just so I know, to use the touch, it has to be published.
No, she could use it, but if you're going to have her do it, it should be done in front of the jury.
Fair.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we got to wait on the jury, right?
Thank you.
For the jury, can you, using the touch screen on your screen, can you point out exactly where you were positioned?
When I was watching it,
Yes, when you were watching it.
right on the corner. Sorry. Oh, well, if you want
Can
to
you
reverse
clear,
it
can you
again,
clear
I'll do it
the
again.
arrow?
We'll clear it. You can do it again.
Yeah.
If you don't want, do you want the arrow?
Well, it was to the...
Clear it again.
Okay.
So it's a touch screen, so use your index finger and you can draw a circle.
Okay.
I was going
Can
to
you
say
clear
that.
Well, I mean, it was right there, but...
I was going to say a circle or a little dot if...
Well, I thought I would do with that, but...
Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on.
Heavy
We'll do it
hands.
again. So press and hold while you draw.
Okay.
This lady is adorable. I love her.
There you go.
And you said that would be approximately East Main and Northeast?
Correct.
And do you recall if those... Well, there's side streets right there that you can see. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
And those side streets would be Northeast and Buckley, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall if there were barricades at those?
I can't honestly recall. I can't be sure.
We can take Exhibit 15 down.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And you said you stayed at the parade until your group had passed.
Correct.
And what time did you leave?
I can't determine the time. It was right after my group of kids went by.
And where'd you go from here?
I walked down, well, I went to go get the car because I had to go pick them up at the end of the parade.
And I'm assuming at some point your attention got drawn to something happening.
You mean like a fucking psycho plowing through crowds of people like bowling pins? That kind of something? No, she missed it. You'd know that if you had done even the smallest amount of preparation beforehand, instead of taking up everybody's time during court proceedings to find your previous attorney's paperwork. Jackass.
That'd be fair to say.
Not necessarily.
What do you remember when you went to go get the vehicle to pick up members of your group? Would that be fair to say first? I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
Do you recall anything happening at that point?
A situation did occur before the said big event that took place.
What do you recall happening at that time once you were on your way to get your vehicle?
I think I need more specifics from you to give the details you may be looking for.
While you were getting your vehicle, did you observe anything happening? Did you overhear about anything happening at that point?
Nothing of that nature. Well, all I can say is that I was walking past White Rock.
Did you see anything that may have alerted your attention at that time?
Yes, a car coming through the parade at the beginning on White Rock where the parade was starting. So when I left, I walked down Main to White Rock on the corner there. Then a gentleman, a child, who I don't know who they were, and myself walked across the street. And at this time, a car was beeping and weaving around a slight curve that White Rock has, and then continued on.
Did you see Did you see where the car went at that point?
Yes, I did. As it came around the slight curve White Rock has, it started to move forward, and then it went straight across. When I was thinking it was going to leave the parade route, if you leave the parade route on Main, you're leaving. Sorry, if you turn left, you're leaving the parade route. If you're turning right, you're going right into the parade. And it went right to if you're looking at the parade, it was on the right-hand side. And it's continued on into the parade.
Hold on, just for the record, she was using her hands during her testimony. I just need,
Left.
that's okay. I just need to make a
Yeah.
record of it. Usually her right hand just kind of demonstrating the course of travel that she described, the vehicle. And I think that's probably all I need to put on the record. Sure. Go ahead. Next question.
I want to back up a little bit. When you first observed this car, as you say, you recall that it was blowing its horn.
Yep, the horn was beeping.
Do you recall if you saw who was operating that vehicle?
Unfortunately, sir, I can't recall.
Do you recall if you might have seen multiple people in the vehicle at that time? Or?
You know, unfortunately, due to the time passing, I cannot recall.
That's fair. It has been a while. Do you recall about what time that was that you observed the vehicle?
Again, I can't be sure.
Sorry if I keep asking.
No,
stuff.
I can't be sure. I'm sorry.
At the time that you observed the vehicle, did you see it strike anyone?
I did not, or at least I don't recall. I'm sorry.
And do you recall if the vehicle was speeding at that point that you observed it?
It wasn't speeding, but it was, all I can state is it wasn't speeding.
Ha!
Did you happen to catch the license plate number of the vehicle at that time?
No, not at all.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I couldn't recall, I'm sorry.
Any windows rolled down or up at the time you observed it?
No, unfortunately, I don't remember.
Do you recall if the vehicle passed close to where you were walking at the time?
Yeah, it was close enough that it could have easily have clipped me or the two people that were in front of me.
Were you the two people that you referred to in front of you, were any of you hurt at that time?
No.
No further questions right now.
So let's recap. She wasn't at the parade during the attacks. She didn't see any barricades. She didn't see the driver. She didn't see other drivers. She did hear honking, to be fair. And she wasn't hit herself. So yeah, A+ job by calling this witness. Her testimony really had some relevancy to Darrell's defense. I mean, no more than any other witness previously testified to those facts. But you know, that old beating a dead horse thing we talked about earlier. I suppose with Darrell, it's too much is really never enough. Now let's see what kind of cross-examination the state may extract from this witness, now that she's been called. Before we start, I know I joke around a lot on this channel, and I like to clown on Darrell, but I need to take a second and I need to caution you. The testimony we're about to hear is horrific. I'm not joking, this isn't a bit. It involves very, very graphic detail about injuries to children. In respect to them and their recovery, I will keep my commentary extremely minimal. I think it's important that we hear it to get the full scope of what this man's actions truly entailed that day, but I caution you, skip ahead to the timestamp that's on screen now if you might find this content triggering or upsetting. It is awful. I broke down the first time I heard this. It's absolutely heartbreaking to hear this woman describe what happened to her children, and I cannot describe to you how awful it is. But with those cautions in mind, we'll proceed.
Hey, Cross.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Yourell. Thank you for being here. You testified on direct examination that you don't recall whether or not you saw more than one person in that vehicle we're talking about. Remember saying that?
Yes.
Do you remember meeting on December 2nd, 2021 for an interview with Detective Jay Carpenter from the Waukesha Police Department?
I remember going as to a lot of topic of conversations. I unfortunately can't recall those too clearly.
Do you remember telling Detective Carpenter that you only observed a driver in the vehicle?
Objection, leading witness.
Yeah, I
Overruled, you may answer.
can't be too
Here's
sure.
that.
Overruled, you may answer.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
I can't be too sure. Again, some of the conversations I might have had that day.
Do you remember what this vehicle looked like?
I do not.
Do you remember telling Detective Carpenter that it was a red truck?
I do not.
Okay. Can we please put up for everybody Exhibit 15 again?
Go ahead.
Can we zoom in on the intersection of East and Main?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Your testimony is that you were standing here on the northeast corner of Buckley and Main Street. Is that right?
Correct.
Objection, already answered that, asked and answered.
Overruled, you may answer.
You said correct.
Correct.
And after your children walked by in the parade, you walked in this direction towards the intersection of White Rock and Main. Is that correct?
Objection,
Correct.
leading and speculative.
So overruled as to both, you may answer. If there is another objection, just wait
pause.
until I rule on
Sorry.
it. Thank you. No, that's okay.
Correct, that was.
And then you crossed through the crosswalk on the north side of Main Street, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that when you saw this vehicle we've been talking about?
Yes.
So you were standing in the crosswalk.
Correct.
Do you remember a police officer being in that intersection?
I can't be too sure.
Okay. Was it clear to you that this was a parade route?
Yes, it was very clear.
Was it clear to you that traffic from White Rock should not have driven onto Main Street
Yes.
unless they were part of the parade?
Yes.
Did it appear to you as though the vehicle we've been talking about was part of the parade?
No.
How many children do you have, Miss Yourell?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled. You may answer.
4 children.
All 4 of your kids were marching in the parade that day, weren't they?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Sorry again.
Your oldest daughter, Charlotte, she was 14 at the time?
Yes.
She was marching with the Extreme Dance Group as an alumni, wasn't she?
She was handing out candy.
Objection.
There was an objection. It's overruled.
I didn't even state why I was objecting, but okay. We still need a 15.
Yes, please. You see on that map the 5 points intersection?
Yes.
When you were standing in the crosswalk at White Rock in Maine, could you see the 5 points intersection?
I could not.
You didn't see your kids get hit, did you?
I did not.
Objection, leading.
Sorry.
Overruled.
Again, sorry.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
You didn't.
I did not.
Did you see them later that night?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
I was only able to see 2 of my children that night.
When did you see the other 2?
Days later, when I was able to leave Children's Hospital.
As their mother, you were directly involved in their medical care and the decisions that were made in that process in the days after the parade?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, their father and I.
Charlotte suffered a chipped vertebrae from being struck, didn't she?
She did.
Objection,
Sorry
leading.
again.
Overruled. You may answer.
She did.
Your daughter Alice, she was 10 at the time, wasn't she?
She was.
She suffered chipped front teeth, is that correct?
Yes.
And facial scarring
Yes.
and road rash
Yes.
and a broken fibula and tibia
Yes.
and broken metatarsal bones.
Yes.
She was observed in a concussion protocol, is that correct?
She was.
Your daughter Vivian, she was marching with the Extreme Dance Group too, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
How old was she in November of 21?
She just turned 7.
Vivian suffered a severe concussion, didn't she?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
And road rash
Extreme road rash.
and a lung contusion
Yes.
and facial scarring.
Yes.
And your 7-year-old daughter Vivian suffered a broken tailbone, didn't she?
She did.
Your son Grayson, he was 8 on November 21st, 2021, is that correct?
That is
Objection,
correct.
leading.
Overruled.
He was walking with the Extreme Dance Group handing out candy, is that right?
He was.
He went to the hospital after the parade, didn't he?
Yes.
He suffered a compound fracture in his femur, is that correct?
An open compound fracture.
A compound. A compound fracture means the bone sticking out of his skin. He's such a piece of shit. Oh, God. I fucking hate this guy.
Person here saying, I don't believe he's a doctor.
Overruled. The witness may answer based upon personal knowledge.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
A police officer saved Grayson's life by placing a tourniquet on that open leg wound. Is that correct?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions.
Will you read the record?
No redirect.
Thank you, ma'am. You may sit down.
Smartest decision you made the entire fucking trial, you piece of absolute fucking garbage.
Let me call your next witness, please.
Fuck you.
So we gonna take down these exhibitors, he gonna stay up on there.
Thank you. We'll take it down.
Wow. Unfucking real. Really gonna sit up there and bark orders around. Wow, look at Basie's face. Which I was fucking heated. Legitimately so. That was fucking brutal.
Please call your next witness.
Just 1 second.
Shame, bro. Shame. Let us not forget that Upper tried to caution this man that calling this witness was a bad idea. To it, Darrell replied this.
Relevancy there. She was at the parade, and as we just heard right now for the record, that she would be directly affected by it, by her family being victims in the matter. Also, she gave statements and she filed a report.
She certainly was at the parade, even though she only stayed for half of it, and she did file a report, the details of which she does not recall. And her family certainly was injured, the details of which you ignorantly just served up to the jury on a silver fucking platter. No right-minded individual would ever consider letting this absolute maniac go free after hearing that testimony. Testimony this fucking nonce admitted onto the record, mind you. And in front of this same jury, these same 12 people who witnessed this, live and in person, as this mother glared over at his stupid fucking face, bawling her eyes out, recounting about what he did to her children, he would stand in front of that same jury and tell them, do the right thing. Completely stone-faced, with absolute conviction. It's fucking insane to me. He's such a snake. I mean it when I say I hate him. I really and truly do. I hate him. And I don't hate people. I've never hated anybody. I watch true crime docs, and I'm like, hopeful one day they will be rehabilitated. I mean, maybe not free, but rehabilitated nonetheless. But, like, when I look at Darrell's face, I fucking hate him. Rewatching some of this stuff, it makes me angry sometimes watching certain parts. Like, I just really want to just smack him really bad. Just once. Or maybe a few thousand times.
The suspense is terrible. He's gonna go this time. I hope it'll last.
Barely. Mama, I love you. P.O.P. all the time. But I cannot see. I'm legally blind.
So you one more person here, right?
It's my understanding, sir. Would that be correct, Attorney Upper?
Yes, she's in the courtroom ready.
Oof, you see that right there. Every now and again, he will say or do something, and I could get so fucking angry. I can't even explain it. Like, I want to fucking punch my TV. Like, this little fucking head shake he does. How he has the audacity to do this after the testimony we just watched. Like, holy fuck. It takes he's sick. He is a sick fuck to sit up there after what we just fucking heard and to shake his fucking petulant head like that. Oh my fucking god. I don't even know how to describe it. It's disgusting.
Defense calls Catrice. I don't know how to say the last name.
Can you give me the spelling that you have?
Babiasz.
I think it's Babias. What's your last name?
Babias.
Babias. All right. Thank you. You are at the witness stand. Would you please raise your right hand?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, ma'am. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record, and then spell each.
Catrice Babias, Katrice Babiasz.
Thank you. My apologies for mispronouncing that earlier. Go ahead, your witness.
Good afternoon, Miss Babias.
Correct.
I'm surprised I got it right. What do you do for a living?
I am a law enforcement dispatch supervisor.
And how long have you been doing that now?
I've been in law enforcement for 16 years.
The evening of November 21st, 2021, were you on duty that evening?
I was not.
What were you doing that evening?
I was attending the Waukesha Christmas Parade with my family.
And do you recall what time you arrived there with your family that evening?
I arrived to the parade shortly after it started, so it was right after 4 p.m.
And do you recall where you were positioned at with your family when you arrived at the parade that evening?
Yes.
And where were you positioned at?
I was towards the beginning of the parade. I was on Main Street, where it connects with White Rock Avenue.
Did anything catch your eye that evening?
Did anything catch your eye? Any lunatics ramming their way through the crowd in a red truck? Any insecure man-children beating their girlfriend in broad daylight? Any scared little chickens fence-hopping through the neighborhood with a sandwich in their pocket? Oh, man. What a stupid way to lay foundation. Like, does he not hear himself? I mean, this is coming from the same man that asked such riveting questions as, who is you? So, I guess it's pretty much par for the course, but still, like, come on, dude. It would behoove you to be a little more tactful in your line of questioning, is all I'm saying. You are, like, inciting damaging testimony by asking that. You're basically inviting somebody to respond, yeah, I did notice something. Your dumbass went loco and ran over a bunch of people. Oh, man, what I would have given to hear somebody say that just once. Good God, would it have been glorious.
When you were positioned watching the parade with your family?
Yes.
What did you see?
I saw a red SUV coming from White Rock Avenue. The vehicle caught my attention because people started yelling, and the driver was honking the horn.
And do you recall, to the best of your knowledge, it's been a little bit, The driver of the vehicle you observed was honking his horn. Was it gesturing to people?
Yes.
And what do you see? What did you see the gesturing as?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
What was the gesturing?
What was the driver gesturing?
Yes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So he was taking his hand and going like this, really rapidly, aggressively.
So, for the record, the witness had her right hand up above, probably above her, I wouldn't say at a 90-degree angle, but somewhere maybe at a 45-degree angle with her hand, waving back and forth multiple times in a rapid motion. Go ahead.
You yourself being in law enforcement and just based on what you were observing, the driver of the vehicle you observed was honking his horn and gesturing with this motion. Would you take that motion as trying to alert people to move out of the way? Grounds.
Sustained us to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
How did you yourself take that gesturing?
I took that gesturing as the driver was telling people to get out of his way.
Do you back up? Did the vehicle pass pretty close to where you were positioned?
Yes, the vehicle almost struck my daughter.
Do you recall seeing the driver?
I looked the driver right in the eyes.
And how did the driver look?
The driver looked like through me.
What do you mean through you? Describe what you mean by through you.
I feel that it is very hard to explain that look, but it was very frightening.
You know, he asks that, all these questions about the crazy look in his eyes, like, you know, I'll dish that to third, but, like, he goes on to demonstrate it for her, for this witness, mere minutes later, before she's even left the stand. Check this out. This is, like, less than 5 minutes later.
Mr. Brooks, ask your next question.
I'm going to get to it.
Thank you.
Dude, let me put this into perspective because I cut some of the questioning out. He has spent the past couple minutes essentially re-traumatizing this poor woman. It's awful. I've had enough heartbreaking testimony for one day, so I spared you all. I cut it out. But he then continues to basically badger his witness, by the way. This is his witness. He then argues with her and accuses her of faking her injuries because they weren't physical. It is absolutely diabolical. And then after asking his witness about this crazy-ass look in his eyes, he unknowingly performs this same exact look right in front of her and right in front of the jury. This is like 1,000% the face he was making while driving through the parade. It's just like the one he makes the day where he pounds his fist in the here, this face. She's right. It's fucking terrifying. Those are like dead eyes. I've said before, he looks like a shark. Like when they fold over that third eyelid and it's nothing but pure blackness. It's like there's no soul behind those eyes. They're dead. Oh, God. He's looking right through her. Okay, so I just wanted to jump in quick. Watch Darrell's eyes as he does this. He is literally staring through them like he's not looking at anybody. It's exactly what she's talking about. Look at his eyes. That's fucking crazy. It's exactly what she talked about. It's like the blank stare of a crazy person is like the best way to describe it. He's like in a trance. He's so angry. It's nuts. It's fucking insane. He gets all weepy about people. people calling him a monster or a demon. Like, god damn, you do look like a monster and a demon, bro. The amount of mental gymnastics it must take to furiously snarl and stare down Judge Darrell, who has been nothing less of a saint to him, and then basically tell the jury to pray and do what's right. Let me go. Ugh. Delusional is the only word I can use to describe it. Imagine who else he might make this face at, unshackled, and what his next actions might be if they were to have actually let him go. Fucking deluded. It's literally the only word I can use to describe it. Self-aggrandizing delusions of grandeur. It's like the only semblance of sense I can try to elicit from this absolute madness. I'm gonna go up there, snarl, and mean mug the judge, and then effectively guilt trip the jury to let me go free. It's incomprehensible, is all I can say.
So when did you first report your alleged injury?
What you have forever scarred her. Because of your actions. My wife had to hand over my child.
What are your requests as it relates to jury?
I don't need your advice.
I need you advisements, sir, regarding your right to testify.
I need to do your job.
I think it would be fair to say that for your crimes, even God hates you.
If you could just...
I could not possibly agree more, sir. What an asshole. Alright, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. A lot of you have been saying you wanted more solo videos, so I'm definitely gonna try and make more of these long-form commentary videos. They just take a really long time with all the editing, but I definitely still love making them, so they're certainly not going anywhere. I'm gonna try to stick to a schedule of more one case watch, one solo video. That way, everybody kind of gets what they want. I know everybody's been saying they're getting kind of sick of the case watch, like, multi-person table talk format, so hopefully this is kind of best of both worlds. I'd like to thank all my new Patreons: Lol Potato, Chris Guthrie, Lone Wanderer, Dina C, Mistress Cat, and Valerie Day. You guys are truly great. I mean, welcome to the Squirrel Pup family. You can become a patron and get an in-video shout-out just like this one. Alongside, there's direct access to me. I'm going to be making some content that's behind the scenes to show how I make this YouTube video stuff. So, join Patreon if that's something that interests you. It's only $1. You can also join the channel Discord. We have 60+ members now. We do watch parties there every Friday. This past week, we did a roast of Amber Heard. It was effing hilarious. We also do all the Case Watch recordings in there, so if you want to be in the next Case Watch episode, just join that. I'm looking for like 4 to 5 people to join me this Sunday, but we do it every Sunday, so regardless of when you're watching this, join the Discord and message me, and you can join and be on Case Watch. And with that, I will bid you adieu. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, and if you guys could do me a really big favor, it would really help the channel. Give one of my other videos a try. I'm trying to expand the content beyond the Darrell Brooks thing, and I'll never get any of the other videos into the algorithm if they aren't getting engagement. So if you like this channel and you like this content, which I assume you do if you're watching until the end, do me a favor and just give one of my other videos like 2 minutes of your time. If you don't like it, obviously you can click off, but it would really help the channel, and it's totally free. Okay, so I'll leave a couple of links to my other videos in the description. Take a couple minutes, check one of them out. If not, whatever, it's fine. You do you. No big deal. Okay? Thank you so much for that, if you do that, and thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You get a secret prize. Here you go. Here it is. There's your secret prize. Here You're all secret prize winners. Be sure to go down in the comments and post the secret prize trophy emoji in the comments so I know which one of you guys are the true OG squirrel pups. Alright, guys. I love ya. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Alright, guys.